All right, hello. Oh my gosh. So let me start the intro. Hey, Anti-Anonymous, how you doing? So as we get into things, I'll be honest, I had some pizza like an hour ago. Probably like 2 hours ago. And my stomach is just so upset right now. Oh my gosh. I'm just so like, But we're gonna make it. We're gonna do this. We're gonna marvel. And yeah, and then we'll get to Splatoon in a little bit. So we've got a lot of news stories today. We actually have like, let me see, one. I'm breaking up the Comic-Con stuff. So we got 1, 2, 5. We got 6 news stories. And then we've got Deadpool and Wolverine in the season finale of My Adventures with Superman. So we've got a lot of stuff to talk about today because it's Comic-Con this weekend. And that's the reason why I didn't stream yesterday. I know normally this is a Friday night show, and you know, I like it being a Friday night show. But when I saw the Marvel panel was today, I was like, yeah, we've kind of gotta. I'm gonna wait the extra day, and we're gonna do Deadpool and Wolverine, right? Or we're gonna do Marvel Studios. Because, yeah, I wanted to see what they were going to announce. And I'm glad we get to talk about this tonight, I guess. Because, oh boy, do we have a lot to talk about. Is Comic-Con worth going to? I have no fucking idea. Like, if you have, like, a local Comic-Con, then yeah, probably. Like, I know down here there's a local Comic-Con that usually happens. I want to say it happens in January every year. I could totally be wrong about that. And I know people who go and have a good time. I do. No, it's not important. But no, you know, but like big, like San Diego Comic-Con or New York Comic-Con, like the official ones, no, they're just so much chaos. But like the smaller ones, like the local, they're usually called like fan expos nowadays because Comic-Con's like a copyrighted term. Yeah, Anime Expo, right? Like, you want to go to, like, the smaller conventions. RTX used to be a really fun one to go to, and that was usually, like, the first week of July. Anime Expo. Emerald City Comic-Con's usually pretty good. But, like, the big Comic-Con, like, the San Diego one, nah. And, it depends on what you're doing there. Like, if you're going for, like, panels and whatnot, like this, like, there are usually lines wrapped around the block, and they only have so many seats, and it's a nightmare and a half. So I think it all just depends on what you're looking for. Yeah, Anime Expo is pretty big, but Comic-Con's a beast of its own burden. I don't know. Anime Expo is, I mean, it's big, but, you know, it all depends on what you're looking for. Okay. So, Marvel, normally I try to do news in chronological order. I'm going to start off with the Marvel stuff, and then we'll get into the video game stuff here in a little bit. But I want to start off with the Marvel stuff, because this is fresh off the presses, right? This was all 2 hours ago. So we're just going to kind of go through it. I'm drawing upon 2 sources today. The first one here is Discussing Film over on Twitter, and the other one is DB Brandon here. I think it's DB Brandon. Or Brandon Davis, I mean. Did I say DB? I meant BD. Brandon Davis, who I want to say runs comicbook.com. So we'll go through, they're going to have similar information, so we'll probably switch back and forth between the two, but we got a lot to talk about, because there weren't that, like, I remember a few years ago, as long as I've been doing this show, the last time Marvel had, like, a big Comic-Con thing, and I spent, like, an hour talking about that. There's not an hour worth of information here, but there's a good chunk. So, I guess let's start at the very beginning. I'm going to start here. So they did some, I'm going to show, right, we're going to look at the videos, we're going to read the text. Right. There's not that many videos, I think there's like 2 or 3. Kevin Feige takes the hall. Rob Delaney was the moderator. The panel mainly focuses on 3 movies. We'll get to that. He is technically true. So let's see. They start off with Captain America Brave New World is a return to the grounded aspects of Captain America the Winter Soldier. Hopefully you should be able to hear that. Alright, so there's our cast. Tim Blake Nelson, who I think is the director, teases they have written a great story for the leader in Captain America Brave New World. It's been 16 years. Tell us about him now. I can't say much. No spoilers. I want them to bring me back. So, right, the leader was the villain in the first Hulk movie. No, yeah, let's go with the first Hulk. The Edward Norton Hulk movie. Who, they kind of tease him at the end of the movie. And then that's it. We haven't heard anything from him since. Why he's in a Captain America movie, I have no fucking idea. But that's what they're doing. Giancarlo Esposito will star as Sidewinder, the King of the Serpent Society in Captain America Brave New World. So there were all these rumors that he was going to be George Washington Bridge. No, turns out they're doing the Serpent Society here somewheres. A clip from Captain America Brave New World shows Harrison Ford's Thunderbolts Ross directly talking about the Celestial coming out of the Earth. So one of the things people have been pissed about for like years now is that when the Celestials movie came out, they had, you know, this giant thing sticking out of the ground, and yet outside of like She-Hulk, no movie has mentioned it. And people are like, why is no... It's part of this comic book fan pedantery of like, oh, you know, in a comic book, you're getting weekly comics, but you get, you know, 3 movies a year, 2 TV shows, 2 or 3 TV shows, right? They haven't addressed it, and people have been really pissed about it. And so finally, you know, some people are happy they're addressing it. I feel like a lot of those people who are mad at them for addressing it don't actually care. They're just being pedantic for pedantic's sake. They reveal that adamantium will be introduced in the MCU, with the Celestial being made out of it. So adamantium is, of course, the stuff in Wolverine's claws. Right? It's half of what makes up Captain America's shield, typically. Or at least a third, because, you know, usually the shield is adamantium, vibranium, and then some third unknown metal. Harrison Ford turns into the Red Hulk in front of the White House whilst giving a speech. So, that's interesting, right? The idea that the whole world knows he's going to be that the president is, Red Hulk. Right? I would have grown a mustache if I'd been asked, says Harrison Ford. And we have Harrison Ford walking out. Yeah, look at him. You know, I mean, he'll do anything but Star Wars. So... I do like that running joke. Right, and Harrison Ford says, I'm proud to become a member of the Marvel Universe. I've been watching fantastic actors have a good time, and I wanted a piece of that. And let's see what over here. So we're going to go back to our other source, Fog Machines. Here we go. Just crossed $30 billion at the box office. Captain America Brave New World. Yeah, so there's a joke beef between Anthony Mackie and Tom Holland. It's a whole other story. The stuff, adamantium, Red Hulk at the podium. And then let's go back. Okay, so there's, again, I'm using these 2 different sources. David Harbour is dressed as Red Guardian for the Thunderbolts, part of the panels. Guys, I sent that email and we all said we were going to dress up because it was Comic-Con. The Thunderbolts cast on stage at SDCC. So we got the Thunderbolts logo. A few months ago, they updated the logo to add a little asterisk. And Kevin Feige did not address, hey, what's this asterisk? He did say, hey, it's an important thing in the movie, but they're not actually going to say what it is yet. I was going to see, does he address it in here? No, he does not. But basically, my guess, Dark Avengers. They're basically the Thunderbolts. Right now, they're calling it the Thunderbolts. But at the end, it's going to be, surprise, surprise, this is the Dark Avengers, or some shit like that. I know typically the Dark Avengers have something to do with, like, Norman Osborn. They've got fucking Val, or whatever her name is. Is it Madam Hydra? Whatever the character's name is. Right, they're going to do something with that. That's what the asterisk is. It's something to do with Dark Avengers. That's my guess anyways. We get the cast, right? The joy of watching put together is that we don't play well together. Sebastian Stan says that Florence Pugh is the standout of the Thunderbolts. It's like having 9 lives. How many are left? Sebastian Stan playing Bucky. First Thunderbolts trailer shown. Yelena visits the Red Guardian apartment, calls him dad, says that she has found that the only reason for her to live is to killing others. We have Ghost in a new costume. And then the Thunderbolts are all equally assigned to the same job, but it's a setup. So, one of these tweets, I know somewhere, someone described it as having a... what's it called? Suicide Squad vibe. Specifically James Gunn's Suicide Squad. And like, no shit. That's what this movie's trying to be, is the Suicide Squad. Am I actually excited for this one? Not at all. I liked the villain. So originally in the comics, the Thunderbolts were a bunch of villains who pretended to be superheroes and then do villainous stuff, right? So they were pretending to be heroes. And I think that's an interesting idea. Right, villains pretending to be heroes to, like, win over the public, and then secretly do villain stuff. But no, they're clearly just trying to rip off the Suicide Squad. Like, that's clearly it. Julia Louis-Dreyfus on Valentina, that's the character's name. Valentina has a power control, and I would say generally she wants to kick ass in the Marvel Universe. Pretty sure they just had a scene in the Avengers Tower with Val. There's been a lot of talk about, who bought the Avengers Tower in Spider-Man Homecoming. We have no idea. Maybe this has something to do with it. There's been rumors that it's going to be the Fantastic Four. I doubt that now. And we'll talk about that here in a second. And the other thought is it's going to be Wilson Fisk. It's possible. Should I create an Anna Wave account? I have no idea what that is. So, if it seems... Just be careful, it's still in your data. Then they go on to Fantastic Four, which, right, you saw right there. Promises Fantastic Four is releasing 1 year from today, and the production starts on Tuesday. So literally, the cast of the movie came out here to Comic-Con, and then are leaving Comic-Con to fly to London to start shooting the movie. Alright, begins filming Tuesday. It's retro future in the 60s. So as far as we know, this is not the mainline 1999999 universe? I don't know. Honestly, when it comes to anime websites, you gotta be careful. Especially those sites that, are a little risque. But no, I think them setting this movie in an alternate universe is more interesting. We'll get to the car here in a second, but I feel like, setting it in the mainline universe, you could have done that. But being like, no, we're going to see it in a different universe. We're going to get this retro futuristic 1960s universe. There's Jetsons inspiration. Matt Shakeman says they went out to the desert to find the best rocks to make the thing out of. Pre-shoot material is being shown. Pedro Pascal has an old school accent as Reed Richards, and he's teaching a science class. I want to say over here, they mentioned the Future Foundation. So, for those who don't know, comic book stuff, Future Foundation is basically after the Fantastic Four, kind of like, they've settled down, they've had their 2 kids, they form the Future Foundation, which is kind of like this genius, like, think tank to, like, help people out. It is also kind of a superhero team as well. It's a little complicated, but I think it's an interesting idea. I don't hate the Future Foundation, so, Yeah, you know, go for it. And, like, there's a bunch of, like, different... Like, this isn't going to matter, but there's a bunch of different members of the Future Foundation. Doctor Doom was technically a member. Spider-Man was a member. You know, it's like that. It was the evolution of the Fantastic Four. From, right, being Marvel's family to something more. We'll get back to that, right? The Fantastic Four car looks straight out of the Jetsons. And then the movie has been officially titled Fantastic Four First Steps. You know, it's probably because there has been 3 movies named Fantastic Four already, right? There's the Corman version, there's the version in the early 2000s with, you know, Chris Evans, and then there was Fan Four Stick with Michael B. Jordan and Miles Teller? I think it was Miles Teller. So them giving this a subtitle, it makes sense. Michael Giacchino will be the composer. Fantastic. He's a great composer. Let's see. Cast is on stage. Early footage of Galactus in Fantastic Four showed his face peering through the building. Very clear he is a giant cosmic entity. I do not know if we know the actor portraying Galactus. I know we know the actress playing Silver Surfer, and it's going to be a woman, which I don't hate at all. Honestly, Silver Surfer is kind of one of those characters where, like, they can kind of do whatever with. So making Silver Surfer a woman, I have no problem with. I don't know who their cast as Galactic, but supposedly this costume is very comic accurate. Right, here we have Pedro Pascal, right, Matt Shackman, and I known each other for 25 years. We've had some talented managers, and he almost became my roommate in 1999, but he saw the place and said no. We're the only Brits in the cast, so we're going to make everyone go to the pub since we're filming in London. Vanessa Kirby on how her and Joseph Quinn are building their sibling bond for Fantastic Four. I love Vanessa Kirby. She's fantastic. And Mission Impossible and Fast and the Furious. Loved her in both those movies, especially Mission Impossible, and she's going to be in the new one. It's going to be great. We're all going to work very hard to bring a feeling of family to this film. I don't think I've left so much of a rehearsal period before. And then the Fantastic Four will appear in both upcoming Avengers movies. So there would kind of, you know how like Guardians of the Galaxy show up in their own movies before eventually showing up in the 2 Avengers movies? There had been this sort of speculation that the Fantastic Four were only going to appear in the second Avengers movies, because that's their story, right? Secret Wars is a Fantastic Four story. In some ways. Doom, it's because of Doom, which we'll get to in a second. But yeah, that's kind of... Them being in both movies is interesting. We'll know why here in a second. We'll get to it. And then we get to... There's this car. We'll have a video of this here in a second. But right, this is the retro-futuristic car. Oh, right here. So right, this kind of took off and flying around. This is their Fantastic Four mobile. I don't hate... Again... If they're going for, like, full 1960s Jetson-inspired, that sounds like fun. I don't care that they're in an alternate universe and not the main 199999. You know, just go off. That seems fun. So, okay, next up, they talked about the Avengers 5 and 6. And Joe and Anthony Russo, the Russo brothers, are back to direct Avengers 5 and 6. This was a rumor like a week or two ago. There was this rumor like, oh, are Joe and Anthony Russo coming back to be, right, to direct the new Avengers? I'll be honest, I'm fine with this. Right, there's a thing we'll get to in a second that I have much more complicated feelings about. Joe and Anthony Russo know how to make one of these movies. This is literally going to be their 5th and 6th Marvel movie. Because, you know, they've done 4 before this. And their 4 Marvel movies are all really good. And while I know the stuff they've done since they left Marvel have all kind of been a bunch of stinkers, I think they can do it. They know what they're doing. They know how to make these movies. I think it'll be fine. So that's, you know... Again, that was rumored a few days ago, but, you know, it's fine. From there, right, the Russo brothers talk about Avengers. Joe and I truly believe that this was the end of our MCU because we had put all of our passion and love into those past films. But you know, money talks. We got a new logo for Avengers Secret Wars coming to theaters in May of 2027. So that is 3 years away. That's a long time. Not as long as you'd think, though. So that's that one. And then after that, we have Avengers Doomsday. Of course, the second you see the title, you know this is Doctor Doom. So, here's the complication. If you haven't noticed in the sidebar over here, right, one of the trending things has been Jonathan Majors early, or maybe it's on the other page. Kang was trending somewheres. Right, there's definitely something at the end of the Marvel Cinematic Universe for us. Marvel's biggest comic crossover ever told. Movie Secret Wars, the most important character in all of the Marvel Universe will be involved. So that's right, Doctor Doom. Right, that's all these people down here. They're all Doctor Dooms. Right, most important character in the Marvel Universe, yes. So yes, that does mean they're getting rid of Kang. Now, just because they are getting rid of Kang for the main Avengers movie, I don't think that means they're done with him altogether. Of course, you know, in this movie, they could have the whole council of Kangs and then just have Doom walk in and kill them all. That would fucking suck. I mean, because that clearly was never the plan. That would suck. They've spent so many movies building up Kang. And I know someone like Tim Geddes will argue that, oh, well, after the end of Loki Season 2, they've wrapped up the Kang storyline. No, they fucking haven't. They literally have left this thing wide open. And they're just gonna probably do it as a throwaway joke. No, I think we need to address the Kang thing. And I think the best way to do it, just make him a villain of the Young Avengers. If you want to go Doom for the major movie villain, you know, Kang just got his ass beat by Ant-Man. Let him fight the Young Avengers. Have him. There's a Young Avengers storyline called. It's not Graduation Day, but it's something like that. And it's a story about the Young Avengers trying to save Scarlet Witch from Doctor Doom. Just do that storyline, but replace Doctor Doom with Kang, right? Wanda's still alive, and she's being held by the Council of Kangs, who are using her powers, blah, 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 something destroy the universe, blah, blah, blah. Young Avengers go in and save her. Hey, guess what? Cassie Lang is on the team, so she's interacted with Kang before. Bring Ant-Man in as, like, the dad figure of the Young Avengers, who, like, has experience and is the one who knows about Kang. That's my solution. Because they're clearly building towards a Young Avengers movie. Like, I know they say, right, the Fantastic Four is going to be in this movie. They say the Thunderbolts are going to be in this movie. But they're also very clearly building towards a Young Avengers. The Marvels ended with the post-credit scene of Kamala meeting Kate Bishop and being like, hey, did you know Ant-Man has a daughter? So yeah, have Kamala Khan, Kate Bishop's Hawkeye, Scott Lang's daughter, who is... I cannot remember the character's name. It's Cassie, but I can't remember her superhero name. Have America Chavez, who, you know, is how they're able to get around the multiverse to fight the Kangs. And then bring in, like, one or two more characters. I would say Spider-Man, but I kind of don't want... Spider-Man's here, especially with them doing Secret Wars. Spider-Man is right? He's got a major part in Secret Wars. Secret Wars is where he gets the Venom symbiote. So, of course, is that still happening? No idea. But no, that's my solution. Have Kang be in the Young Avengers movie, which I think they're doing. They may not have talked about it here. Even if they call it the Champions instead of the Young Avengers, I know the Champions normally has a very different team of, like, Nova, Miles Morales, Vision, because supposedly a Vision Quest show is still in progress, and if that introduces us to Vision, okay, that's cool. Billy and Tommy, of course, Wanda's two kids. Yeah, have it be Kamala, Kate Bishop, Cassie Lang, America Chavez, and then Billy and Tommy introduce Hulkling in the movie, right? Just do stuff like that. Sure, they'll figure it out. And then from there, I want to find the clip. Boom, Robert Downey Jr. If I'm being honest, I know everyone in this clip is super excited. You know, I get it. But if I'm being honest here, I have very complicated feelings about this. Because there is an element where this rings of desperation, right? That the new stuff Marvel has been working on isn't working. So they're desperate to revive, you know, that old fandom. And hey, they're bringing back Robert Downey Jr. to play Doctor Doom. The evil Robert Downey Jr. Like, oh shit, man. I get that. I get where they're coming from on that aspect. Like, yes, this does reek of it being desperate. But, because here's the thing. Iron Man and Doctor Doom are two very different characters, right? But I can see where people can draw a similarity, because, you know, they're both cocky, they're both geniuses, but there's this certain element of Doom, right? Doom can be malicious, Doom is cocky, but that's because not only does he know he's the best, he is the best, right? He's the strongest, and he knows it. And that's what people really like about Doom. Do I think Robert Downey Jr. can pull that off? Yeah, you know, he's a good actor. He can probably pull that off and make it distinct from Tony Stark. Because that's the biggest worry, is that he's just going to do Tony Stark but evil. Listen, if I wanted superior Iron Man, you should have given us superior Iron Man. That's not what we want here. Doom is very different. And that's the big fear, is that they're just going to do superior Iron Man, and that sounds way less interesting. Of course, I'm going to guess this Doom is going to come from the Fantastic Four universe, you know, this retro futuristic 60s universe, and that's going to be a big element of it, hopefully, because if he's in the mainline universe, that makes no fucking sense. But of course, at some point, they're going to have to grapple with the fact that, oh, why does this guy look like Tony Stark? And of course, they're going to bring back Tony Stark as well. They're not going to bring him back just to play Doom. They're obviously going to bring him back as Tony Stark and have Tony Stark fight Doom. And I don't know, man. It reeks of desperation. Is it the worst thing in the world? I don't think so. But I would have loved to see a young, up-and-coming actor really sink his teeth into this, really go supervillain, and that could have been great. But just, there's this element that reeks of desperation. So, I don't know, man, like, I knew we were going to get to Doom eventually, and, you know, it's here I'm talking about Kang. I don't even give that much of a shit about Kang. It's just, if you spend literally the past, like, 5 years setting up Kang, and now you're just throwing that all out the window to replace him with Doom. Like, I get it. Doom was going to replace Kang eventually. But at least give us one Kang thing. Like, come on, you gotta give us an ending. And I think the best solution for recasting Kang is just cast 5 different actors. Get 5 different actors to play Kang, make one of them a woman, and boom, just roll with that. Because that's right, Jonathan Majors playing every version of Kang was kind of dumb, right? Like, there are so many different variations of Kang that do very different things. But nope. I don't know, man, so this just reeks of desperation. I keep saying that, but it's the truth. So, and that's it. That's kind of the last reveal they had. I'll be honest, I don't know much about Secret Wars 2016. I definitely have read bits and pieces of it, but I don't know much about Secret Wars 2016. Most of my knowledge of Secret Wars comes from Secret Wars 1985? The original Secret Wars, right? The first event comic. I know that story pretty well. And in both Secret Wars, Doom is a major player. And, like, I get it. Right? I get why, right? You want Doom to be something big, something important. It's just... I don't feel great about this. Like, I don't hate it, right? I'm not gonna act like this is the worst thing in the fucking world. But... I just... It's desperate. It's desperate, it's contrived, and you're better than that, sweetie. What's that actual quote? It makes you seem desperate, it makes you seem lonely, and frankly, you're better than that, sweetheart. But yeah, that's it. They didn't talk about anything else. We don't know where, you know, there's a bunch of rumored MCU project, right? We know a Wonder Man show or something's in development. We know, supposedly, Ironheart is filmed, right? The entire show is filmed, and they just haven't said anything about it. Supposedly there's a Vision show, Vision Quest. I don't even remember them officially announcing that, but supposedly that's filmed and done. The Armor Wars movie, it's now a movie, is done. So basically, this fills our Marvel schedule for the rest of the year. Let's scroll up and see if they have... Oops, wrong page. Let's see if they've said any... Okay, does discussing film have, like, a full... From Iron Man to Doctor Doom. Pedro Pascal seeing himself in the costume. Your thoughts on Robert Downey Jr. as Doom. Celestial made of adamantium. So fucking... Okay. So we have a recap of, somewheres we have a recap of something. So we know, okay, so these movies are both coming out in May. Let's start there. These movies are both coming out in May, so there's a year between them. But also in 2025, Fantastic Four is in July. Captain America is in February. Where is Thunderbolts? I thought someone said Thunderbolts was in May of 2025, which puts it a year before these movies. I don't know if that's still true. I'm going to Google it right now on my phone. That might be true. I could see that as like a November thing. Thunderbolts movie. May 5th, holy shit. So yeah, no, that's basically a year out. But along the way, you know, so that's all of 2025's 3 movies. And then that leads us into this, right? We know we're going to have an Agatha show later this year. We've got a Daredevil show coming sometime next year. We've got, again, there's an Ironheart rumor. There's the Vision Quest, Wonder Man. I don't know. There's an element of this all that feels rushed, that just kind of worries me. You know, I was thinking about it the other night, and it's part of the MCU's post-Endgame problem is that they can now only make big movies, right? They're making a bunch of movies, but what they should have done after Endgame is like, okay, we had this big, massive 2-movie event. Now we're going to pull back in, we're going to go smaller, and right, we're basically going to start from the beginning again. That's what they should have done. But instead they've just tried to, like, keep that momentum by releasing bigger and bigger movies, and now they're kind of rushing towards Avengers because nothing else is working. And it's a mess. Again, we'll get to Deadpool and Wolverine, and I did like it. But the MCU is... what should have happened is, right, they should have scaled it back. This movie should not be for another few years, and instead we should have gotten a smaller Avengers movie. We should have gotten an Avengers Secret War, or not, Secret Invasion. We should have gotten a Secret Invasion. Instead of making a really shitty TV show, which did suck, we should have gotten a movie that adapted elements of Secret Invasion, but kind of like, you know how Captain America Civil War was a great movie based on a shitty comic? They should have done the same thing for Secret Invasion. Taken a shitty comic, made a good movie about it, reestablish a new Avengers team with, you know, Captain America, Rhodey as as the new Iron Man, right? Sam Wilson as the new Captain America, She-Hulk as the new Hulk. I don't know, you can bring Thor back or not. Put Shang-Chi in the Avengers. Put either Captain Marvel or Spectre, right? Monica Rambeau, whichever one. Put one of them in there, and we should have gotten Secret Invasion. We should have gotten Secret Invasion and just had that story, and that would have been great. And, you know, and then build back up towards this. But no, that's just not what happened, because now they can only make big movies, right? Avengers movies can only be as big as Infinity War. And so instead we're putting a lot of shit in between, a lot of which people don't care about. Not that I'm saying all of it's bad. I've liked a good chunk of it, actually. Right? Like, I loved The Marvels. I think that movie is super underrated. It did not deserve to fail at the box office. I really enjoyed Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. I enjoyed Deadpool and Wolverine. Again, we'll talk about them here in a little bit. But I don't know. This all reeks of desperation. So yeah, I think that's all we got to talk about Comic-Con, or the Marvel Comic-Con stuff. We do have some more Comic-Con stuff to talk about. Again, our sources here are Brandon Davis, right, at Brandis Davis DB, and of course the great source that is Discussing Films. They have all the good stuff here. All right, if you ever need, right, Discussing Films is pretty great. Oh yeah, there's a Blade movie that I completely forget exists. Yeah. That movie's not coming out until after Secret Wars. That movie's in development hell right now. What was I? Oh yeah. So we do have other stuff to talk about from San Diego Comic-Con. Well, let's talk about this one while I boot up Splatoon, because we still are doing Splatoon tonight as well. So the first thing, let me split this. So we did get a panel on My Adventures with Superman, right? Season 3 is greenlit. So it was greenlit a while ago, but it is coming. Ooh. Kill that. So right, Season 3 was greenlit in February. Season 3, Episode 1 has finished voice recordings. About 4.5 episodes of Season 3 have been written. Superboy has been confirmed. So, right, if we look at this first image, this is Superboy. Which Superboy is this? I have no idea. Because I know there are multiple Superboys. This isn't Connor. But I have no idea which one this is. Because I know there is a Superboy that has, like, a jacket like this. And I couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you which Superboy this is. I just know it's not Connor. At least I don't think it's Connor. And then, right, Lex Luthor is going to go bald. We have this art here. Right, we see bald Lex Luthor. We have Slade. I still wish they'd update the mask and get rid of the one eye now that he's wearing the eye patch. Got Amanda Waller. This is probably Cyborg Superman, right? The guy who gets turned into Cyborg Superman was in Season 2 of the show. He showed up in multiple episodes. Hey, that's pretty cool that we're seeing him here. Right, they've been building up towards that. The Lex Corp, obviously. We have Silver Banshee and not Brick House. I don't remember this guy's name. He's one of the Intergang people. This kind of looks like it looks like Zor-El, but just without the eye patch. This is probably Zod. Let's be honest, this is probably Zod. Mixius Pitalik, obviously. I have no idea who this is. I have no idea what this is. And then who are these people? Like, okay, we have 3, like, scientist-looking people, and then someone who is flying. But they have, like, a Kryptonian S. And then presumably this is supposed to be, you know, Clark, Lois, Kara, and Jimmy here in the middle. Presumably. But I have no idea who these people is. My first thought is, you know, usually Zod has the one guy and the girl with him. Presumably that's who they are. But we have no idea. And then, right, we got them all coming together. I'm glad all 4 of them are here, right? I'm glad they're not ditching Kara. Hopefully she's going to become a member of the main cast. Because usually, okay, so one of the things that makes My Adventures with Superman great is that they have a nice rounded cast of 3, right? Because that's usually, the rule of 3s is very important. Dynamics of 3 work very well. So now going to a dynamic of 4, dynamics of 4 don't work as well. So they're going to have to add in a 5th. Maybe that 5th is Superboy. You know, maybe he rounds out the cast. But I don't know. But this is a show. I love this show. We will talk about the Season 2 finale here in a little bit. I absolutely love this show. It's one of the best shows out right now. I hope it they're aiming for at least 4 seasons. I hope they get 1 million. I know it's going to be another year or 2 until we get this next one. I hope we get so many seasons of this show. It is so fucking good. And yeah, that's kind of all. What else do I have to talk about Comic-Con real quick? What other Comic-Con things do we have? We got a trailer for Creature Commandos. So as part of the DC stuff, we got a new trailer for Creature Commandos. It's a weird project to be kicking off James Gunn's DC universe. It's weird, but hey, they're doing it. You got The Bride of Frankenstein. You've got Frankenstein. You've got Weasel, G.I. Robo, a Fish Lady, and Dr. Phosphorus, who I don't think is the villain from Batman Beyond, but he might be. I don't think so, though. So we got that. I don't know if they showed off anything new of the Superman movie. I don't think so. But they did give DC Studios a new logo. I don't know if I can... Let me just see if I look up DC Studios. So we did get right here. You can see the new DC Studios logo. Let's just go into this article by Deadline. So we see the new logo. So traditionally, this has been the DC logo for many years. But between like 1980 and like 2005, this was the DC logo. This was the DC logo I remember as a kid. I remember this logo. So they're bringing that back, which I know has some people very excited. That's pretty cool. And, you know, that's the logo they're going to be using. And yeah, that's all the DC stuff. I know we're going through that very quick. But yeah, it's super simple. It all looks good. The one thing I'm surprised we didn't get today or yesterday, we might get it tomorrow, so I might be, you know, make this my prediction for the future. I thought we were going to get a Sonic the Hedgehog 3 trailer. Because supposedly we were supposed to get a trailer back in May, and it got delayed for some reason. Now here we are at the end of July. Comic-Con, it'd be the perfect time to give us a trailer. I would love a trailer for Sonic the Hedgehog 3. We'll see. We'll see if it happens. I would love if it did, though. Because that movie comes out in December. And we know, outside of that one little teaser, like, logo we got, we know nothing about it. But I am excited for it, whatever it turns out to be. Alright, I'm gonna go... I completely ran out of water, so I'm gonna go get some more water, because, again, my tummy hurts. Oh, I love the new DC logo. What do you like better, Marvel or DC? DC. I'll be... You know, I know we just spent, like, 30 minutes talking about Marvel, but DC will... Right, DC is what I grew up on as a kid. Love DC. I like DC shows and comics. I like Marvel movies. Marvel has good movies, and they have some good comics. I like Miss Marvel. I love, the original 1985 Secret Wars. Love that book. So much fun. But, yeah, no, if I had to pick, I'd pick DC every day of the week. I love their TV shows. I love some of their comics. Some of them until, like, last week, I had not read a DC comic, since Heroes in Crisis, because I fucking hated Heroes in Crisis so much. But that's a story for another day. Alright, I'm gonna go get some water. I will be right back, and then we'll move on, and we'll talk about some video game news. Okay, let's see. Okay, boom, there we go. You know what I did not put on here? We did get a new Lego Mario. So, like a few weeks ago, there was a rumor about a new Lego Mario set that was like Mario and Yoshi. And I kind of figured it was going to be like the Bowser statue that we had gotten a few weeks ago. No, not at all. Let me see if I can pull this up real quick. Oh, and I also have to update the stream info. Give me a second. Splatoon 3. Okay, give me 1 second. I want to show you this Lego, because this was also revealed at Comic-Con. Alright, so when I had heard Lego Mario, I figured it was going to be like a 3D Mario, like, statue, kind of like the Bowser set. No, it's pixel art. Look at this shit. Let me get you some audio. Look at this. So, right, it's a full pixel art Lego thing. Looks great. Very loud in my ear. Yeah, I think that's beautiful pixel art. It walks. It's got a full-on walking animation, cape and everything. But you'll notice that other knob there on the back, you can make Yoshi open his mouth and stick out his tongue. That looks so good. That was also revealed at Comic-Con. And yeah, fantastic. Fantastic looking Lego. I'm super impressed with that. Yeah, no, that's so cool. Yeah, it's I think $130, which is, yeah, it's definitely it's definitely a little expensive, but I think it looks fantastic. Looks fantastic. I think it comes out September or October. I want to say October 1st sounds right in my head. But yeah, that looks great. That looks fantastic. Nintendo and Lego have been knocking it out of the park. Their sets are pretty expensive, but they look amazing. Honestly, Lego expensive is normal for Lego. Nintendo Legos are even more expensive than you think. Like, if this was a non-Nintendo property, it'd probably be $100. But, you know, because it's Nintendo, they get to check on another $30 to $50, if not more. That Legend of Zelda set was like $300. I think it was 300. It was expensive. So yeah, because of Lego in Nintendo. Yeah, see, Lego is expensive, and Nintendo is expensive. So Lego in Nintendo is like super expensive. But God, they all look so good. They're eating with those sets, man. They're fantastic. And this is just another great one. I have the question block set. I found the question... this was months ago now. The Super Mario 64 question block, I found it on sale. Not much of a sale. Like, just a few bucks off. But I picked it up. Such a cool set. I built it a while ago. Beautiful set. Yeah, beautiful looking set. Some beautiful Legos. Alright, so let's get into some video game news. So, our first story, Davide Soliani. If that is a name that's a name that may not ring any bells, but you might recognize this guy from 2017. So, in 2017, the year the Switch was revealed, at E3 that year, Ubisoft revealed Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle. And when they did, they brought... Right, Miyamoto came out, and he talked about how great the game looks, and how they're doing such a fantastic job, and they pointed the camera over to the developer, right, the lead developer of the game, who was crying. Because, I mean, if Miyamoto came up to you and said he loved your work and you're doing a fantastic job, of course you would cry. And that man's name? Davide Soliani. And it was announced today that he, after 25 years, is officially leaving Ubisoft. And, you know, honestly, it's a... right, we don't know where he's going from here, but it was a fantastic career. That is one of the best E3 moments of all time. Is him... Right, him crying when Miyamoto praises him is a fantastic E3 moment. It's one of the best E3 moments of all time. Right, him just wearing his heart on his sleeve as Miyamoto, you know, the grandfather of video games, tells you, you did a fantastic job. And he should be proud of that game. Because that's a Mario plus Random Kingdom Battle is a fantastic game that I highly recommend. And it's one of the only Ubisoft games that's not... Like, when all the documents came out about Ubisoft and how shit of a company Ubisoft is, one of the big things about that was, right, there were a lot of different people, you know, Michel Ancel, the head of Ubisoft, whose name was it Yves Guillemot? I think Yves Guillemot sounds right. There's all these terrible stories about the terrible things that happen out of Ubisoft. And the one name not on there anywheres? Davide Soliani. Right, his team at Ubisoft Milan. Nope, not on there. And yeah, so even though, you know, I didn't pick up Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope, he ran a, you know, he seems to be the one person at Ubisoft who ran a good ship. Of course, supporting his game still supports Ubisoft, who has not changed. They're still a shitty company. But, right, but he's like he was the one good thing at Ubisoft. And, you know, him stepping away, I hope right, maybe he's retiring, maybe he's gonna go form his own studio. Whatever he does, I'm sure it'll be great. Because he was great. And, yeah, it's sad to see him go. But, you know what, it's for the best. I'm sure he's gonna do great things outside of Ubisoft. I heard Sparks of Hope was good. I never played it, but Kingdom Battle was I played Kingdom Battle. It was fantastic. I don't hate the Rabbids. I know some people do, and, like, I don't blame them entirely, because they're basically prototype minions. But Rabbids Go Home on the Wii was a fantastic game. Loved that game. And Sparks of Hope was also a really... Kingdom Battle was a fantastic game. It was fun. Its DLC was pretty good with Donkey Kong. Yeah. And Sparks of Hope looked great. I just didn't pick it up. I actually have a Mario Rabbit hat. I don't remember where I got it, but I have like a baseball cap with the Mario logo and rabbit ears on it. I found it while I was doing some cleaning the other week. Yeah, it's pretty, it's cute, you know, it's the one Mario hat I actually own. Because I don't actually own Mario. I used to own a pair of Mario cat ears, but those got destroyed. I think buy a cat. That sounds right off the top of my head. Yeah, no, Kingdom Battle is a great game, and yeah, he had a great, he did some great stuff. But yeah, that moment at E3 is still one of the best E3 moments of all time. That has never changed. I love that moment. And yeah, great. Just some great stuff. Next up, we actually have a Nintendo story. So, the Splatoon World Championships, a Splatoon story, were I think they were a few months ago at this point. And shortly after the Splatoon World Championships, the team that won were embroiled with controversy. I admittedly don't remember exactly what happened. I can't tell you, I don't remember all the details, but it was like pretty, like, they said, I want to say they said some bad stuff, and of course people were asking Nintendo, like, hey, you should undo that. I had Kingdom Battle, but one day left on my Switch store. Next day we couldn't get it back. Oh. Yeah, that sucks. But yeah, so the championship winning team, right, there was some controversy. People were asking them to be removed of their title. There's an official nameplate in this game that features the winning team, and it kind of became a dog whistle, you know, like, I know there were some people who were just excited for a new nameplate, but for some people it became, you know, a dog whistle for, like, some heinous shit, if I remember. At least, you know, again, when the story first broke. So this had been a complicated news, so this had been a story for a while now, at a restaurant. So, right, this had been a news story for a while now, but we hadn't really heard anything about it until earlier this week, when Nintendo actually responded to it. So Nintendo put out a statement. It has come to our attention that a certain member of Team Jackpot, the team that recently won the Splatoon 3 World Championships, acted in a manner that is not in line with our community guidelines while playing the Splatoon 3 game. As a result, Team Jackpot's win will be considered vacated, and the team will not receive trophies associated with the event. Additionally, the in-game splash tag banner commemorating their win will be adjusted via an upcoming software update. Nintendo cares deeply about our players and our community, and we take responsibility to uphold our community guidelines seriously. That is some great news. Right? He said some racist stuff. Again, I don't know. I don't remember all the details. It was a while ago. You know, this is good. Even though it took Nintendo some time to talk about this, I'm glad they did talk about this. This was a story, right? This was something that needed to happen. Because, you know, we're just not going to tolerate that stuff, right? Especially because Splatoon is a very open and progressive community, right? Every week I come on here, and I always see a post by someone with the name like Girl Kisser or something like that. Right, this is a very progressive community. The Splatoon community stands with Palestine. And, you know, shit like this just shouldn't fly. So, I'm glad this happened. It took them a while, but I'm glad this happened. Our next story... So, we have two stories about unions today. Let's start. They're both, you know, they both have potential for good news. Let's start with the gooder news first, I guess. Yeah, let's start with the good news first. So, Bethesda Studios has unionized. 241 workers at Bethesda Game Studios have officially joined a union. I'm getting my reporting from Jason Schreier, who writes that this includes artists, engineers, programmers, and designers. So this includes large swaths of the workforce, Right? I don't know how many total members is this studio. No, gooder is not a word I made up. It's probably a Simpsons reference, if I'm being honest. But yeah, how large is Bethesda Game Studios? I have no idea. But 241 is a good start. I hope these numbers just keep going up and up. Microsoft agreed a while ago that they will recognize any union that forms under them. So this union has already been recognized by Microsoft. And I hope Activision Blizzard unionizes next. I hope I hope this is the start of a domino that eventually leads to Activision Blizzard and then just Microsoft as a whole. Right? I want all game studios to unionize. Yep, I want all game studios to unionize. Bethesda is not the first studio to have a union. At least I don't think it is. I want to say... No, I'm not going to say any. I know there are others, but I couldn't tell you what studio it is. But, you know, I hope this is a domino effect. I hope this is not even the first. I hope this is the most recent of many studios to unionize. I hope this is just another larger domino that leads to a better working environment, better work conditions for employees, right? Less crunch, and yeah, just overall, I think this is a great thing. Yeah, but more game studios need to unionize because these companies are going to try to fuck you over. And with the video game industry bubble bursting any day now, the video game industry is going to burst its bubble. Having a unionized job is super important for when that happens. And I hope more people are unionized before that happens. I hope the entire game industry is unionized one day. Right? Be that Microsoft, Nintendo, PlayStation, or anybody else. But we'll just have to wait and see. Nintendo of America definitely needs to unionize. Nintendo employees at Nintendo have better working conditions than others, but especially like freelance employees, no. Freelance employees get screwed over, and they're the bottom of the ladder, and I definitely want to see Nintendo unionize. So our other story, which this was going to happen regardless, right? So if you remember last year, there was a lot of talk last year about, the writer's strike. There was the writer's strike with the WGA, WAG, and then there was the actor's strike with SAG-AFTRA. So, after 6 months of negotiations, communications have broken down, and SAG-AFTRA is going on strike against the video game industry. We're not going to consent to a contract that allows companies to abuse AI to determine our members, or to the detriment of our members. Companies facing the strike include Activision, Disney, Insomniac, EA, Take-Two, Epic Games, and Warner Brothers. So let me read the official statement here from Los Angeles. SAG-AFTRA National Executive Director-in-Chief Negotiator Duncan Crabtree, Ireland, acting under the authority of the delegated by the SAG-AFTRA National Board and the unanimous advice of the Council of Interactive Media Agreement Negotiations Committee, called a strike of the Interactive Media Agreement effective July 26th at 12:01 a.m. Today's vote to strike comes after more than a year and a half of negotiations without a deal. The Convenience Bargaining Group, with whom SAG-AFTRA is negotiating, includes Activision Productions Inc., Blind Light LLC, Disney Character Voices, Electronic Arts Productions Inc., Formosa Interactive, Insomniac Games. Is it? I'm gonna assume it's Llama Productions. Yeah, let's go with that. Take-Two Productions, VoiceWorks Productions, and WB Games. After Games looking to employ SAG-AFTRA talent to perform covered work must sign on the new tiered budget Independent Interactive Media Agreement, the Interim Interactive Media Agreement, and the Interim Interactive Localization Agreement. These agreements offer critical AI protections for members. Negotiations began in October of 2022, and on September 24th, 2023, SAG-AFTRA members improved a video game strike authorization with a 98.32% yes vote. Although agreements have been reached in many issues important to SAG-AFTRA members, the employers refused to plainly affirm in clear enforceable language they will protect all the performers covered by their contract in AI language. We're not going to consent to contracts that allow the companies to abuse AI to the detriment of our members. Enough is enough. When these companies get serious about offering an agreement our members can live and work with, we will be here ready to negotiate, stated SAG-AFTRA President Fran Drescher. So yeah, we're in another strike. And yes, like the last one, of course, I fully support this one. So I do want to make something clear. SAG-AFTRA, right, before we go any farther, there's been a lot of talk about whether this means that you have to, like, boycott video games, right? Can you no longer play games from these companies? Can you not stream games from these companies? And SAG-AFTRA did post an FAQ. And, right, in their Q&A, they asked for streamers and podcasters. They said they are not being asked to avoid playing/discussing struck work. So you can still talk about these struck companies, you can still play/stream these struck games, but they do ask/encourage you that if you are going to play these struck works, you discuss the strike when you're playing them. And I think that's a good way to do it. The other thing is to minimize, playing games from some of these companies, right? Disney, Activision, Insomniac, EA, Take-Two, Epic, and Warner Brothers, and more, right? If you can minimize games from those companies, that is the best solution. Hopefully, right? I hope these actors get a good solution sooner rather than later. I hope they don't get screwed over like some of the writers did, because I know some of the writers got screwed over by some AI stuff. I want to say it was in video games, right? Like the WGA or WAG, again, I can't remember, signed a deal that allowed like AI writing in video games, and it was like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, you just did this massive strike about not doing AI to replace your jobs, but you're fine. You don't want it in movies and television, but you're fine with it in video games. Like, they got fucked over there, and though I feel so bad for them, right? Upper management completely fucked them over. So yeah, it's messy. It's messy, but I fully support this strike. So yeah, we're gonna try to minimize in the future, right? Not talking about any of these struck companies. That's the list I have. There might be a more complete list on the WGA website, or the SAG-AFTRA website, I mean. So I would recommend looking there. Any other QAs, again, I would recommend looking there. And just in general, I would recommend not buying games from these companies. Warner Brothers, Activision Blizzard, Take-Two Interactive. Right, I just wouldn't recommend buying any of these games. Don't give these companies your money. I know, right, if the strike goes on long enough, that includes GTA 6. I hope some people do realize that. Because GTA 6 is a Take-Two game. At least I'm pretty sure it's Take-Two. So yeah, I hope this gets, I hope this gets a resolution sooner rather than later, and I hope the actors get everything they asked for, because they deserve it. Because without them, a lot of great things wouldn't be possible. So yeah, and of course I'll keep you updated on the strike. If any other major news breaks or anything, we'll make sure to talk about it here. So I guess that brings us up to WIBE. What video games have I been playing? I have not played Super Mario RPG. I know I said I wanted to play and beat that game by the end of July. That didn't happen, let's be honest. I know July still has like 5 days left or whatever. It's not looking very likely. I've been busy and I've been lazy. Like, I go to work, I get home, and then I just want to watch stupid YouTube videos. I want to watch people clowning on Donald. Right, I want to watch the Kamala Harris Twitter account clown on Donald Trump. Oh, fuck, we didn't even talk about that. Oh, shit, I guess let's talk about politics. Can we get back to politics, please? So, if you were in the Pikmin stream last week, surprise, surprise, Joe Biden dropped out of the presidential race, and now it's full steam ahead on Kamala Harris. And I'll be honest, I have never felt better about being a Democrat since, like, 2008. Man, I have not felt this amount of enthusiasm in politics in fucking years. It's crazy how low I was 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, I went so fucking low. I was in the thralls of despair. I felt awful. 2 weeks later, I feel fantastic. I feel more hopeful than I ever have before. Kamala looks like she's going to be the nominee. We don't know who her vice president pick is. Personally, I'm kind of rooting for Mark Kelly, right? The astronaut from Arizona. I like him. I think he'd be a cool VP pick. He's a little inexperienced, but that's okay. But we'll see how it all plays out. But no, this past week has felt so good. And the Kamala Harris TikTok account has just been killing it. Right? They clearly have a bunch of Gen Z kids running the account. They're doing fantastic work. There's been a Hamilton resurgence, because a lot of people are joking about how this is basically the election of 1800, because, you know, Joe Biden doesn't stand a chance at winning, so, you know, who else are you going to support? Yeah, I've seen a lot of people compare this to, like, the election of 1800, or, a bunch of other songs in Hamilton, and it's been a great time. It has been a great, hopeful time in politics. Have my hopes and dreams been crushed before? Of course they have. But I'm feeling great. Okay, now can we get away from politics? Please. Okay, so what was I talking about before politics? Oh yeah, I haven't played, Super Mario RPG. I did, however, sit down and play the NES World Championships. Or the World Championships NES Edition. And I'm going to be honest, it's okay. So, right, this is Nintendo's new game, and I think is it like 13, 14 classic and NES games, right? They have all these special challenges. It reminds me a lot of the NES remix games that came out on the Wii U and 3DS. Those games were okay, even though I ever played the first one, and this game was okay as well. You know, it's a bunch of these little micro challenges, like, hey, collect a mushroom in World 1-1. Collect all the coins in the secret pipeway. Complete 1-1 as fast as you can. How fast can you get super missiles? How fast can you climb the shaft in Metroid? How fast can you kill all the enemies in the original Legend of Zelda? How fast can you kill all the enemies in Balloon Fight? There are all these little NES challenges, and yeah, it's fine. It's nothing amazing, it's nothing special. You know, your goal is to do them as fast as possible. You get coins for doing the challenge. I think you get extra coins for getting an A+ rank or an A rank. It goes up. The ranking system in this game is so weird because it goes like C, C+, C++, B, B+, B++, A, A+, A++, and then finally S rank. And that's just weird. Like, why is there I get A and A+. Okay, admittedly, I've never gotten... I know C ranking is in the game, because I got it once. I've never seen C and C++. So, I'm assuming those exist, but I legitimately have no idea. But I know B, B+, and B++ exists. And it's weird that, again, if it was just A, A+, and then up to S rank, and then B and B+, I'd get that. But going A++, like, that's just weird. I don't know, I might be alone on that, but that just feels weird. So yeah, I don't know exactly why they designed it that way, but that's how they designed it. The game controls fine, it runs fine, it's not laggy. At least it wasn't for me. At least from the levels I played. I did not play every level. I basically just tried out every game, did a few levels, and yeah, it was okay. Will I play it some more? Probably a little bit, but I don't know, like, I'm not gonna try to, like, 100% every speed run. I'll be honest, that sounds a little boring. But, you know, from what I played, I had a good time. Nothing special, you know, I think I played it for like an hour or two while listening to a podcast. It was okay. So I played that game. I legitimately don't think I played anything else. We did the Pikmin Marathon last week. And after finishing the Pikmin Marathon, I was kind of like, I'll be honest, I've played Pikmin 4 like a dozen or so times. And every time, you know, I'm basically, for most of those runs, except for like the first one, I'm just doing the speedrun route. So I feel like there's a lot of dungeons and whatnot that I've completely forgotten about in those games. So there was a part of me that just kind of wanted to do, like, after, you know, even after I played Pikmin for 16 hours, I'll be honest, I kind of wanted to play more and just do a casual run of Pikmin 2. That just kind of sounded fun. Hey, Bundle of Dragons, how you doing? Right, I just kind of wanted to do a casual run of Pikmin 4. Not trying to speedrun anything, just, you know, casually do the game, explore some of the dungeons I haven't played in a while. You know, that sounded kind of fun, but I just didn't have the time. But yeah, you'd think after the 16-hour Pikmin Marathon, I'd be sick of playing Pikmin. But no, honestly, I could have gone in and done it again. I could have put more time. You're awkward. Yeah, you know, you think 16 hours of Pikmin would kill Pikmin forever. But no. I did. So, I'm doing okay. You know, talked about a lot of Marvel stuff earlier. So I have all those runs. All the Pikmin runs are now uploaded on YouTube. And I did consider submitting them all to speedrun.com. I was like, you know, what if I go game by game, cut out the times, and submit them to speedrun.com? I thought that would be a very funny thing to see if I can get all 4 runs verified. I just think that would be funny. And I haven't done it. Because I'll be honest, uploading the 16-hour Pikmin stream to YouTube was a bitch and a half. Because if you didn't know, YouTube has a rule that you cannot upload videos longer than 12 hours to YouTube. Now, of course, if you are a big enough channel, you can just ignore that rule, right? If you have enough subscribers, if you have a connection with YouTube, you can just ignore that rule, right? That rule is only for smaller channels, and I am one of those channels, so of course I couldn't do that. So I instead had to break the video up into 2 parts. And so basically I spent the entirety of Monday just trying to get the 16-hour video to upload. Couldn't work. Then I tried splitting it up. And I was just like, okay, let's get the first half, let's cut it, let's render it, let's do all that. And then when I went to export it, it only exported about 50% of the video. Yes, that includes live streams as well. Yep. You could stream longer than 12 hours, but it will only save 12 hours of the live stream. So yeah. But yeah, so I broke it up. I got the first half, which the first half was just Pikmin 1 and 2. And it only rendered like half the video. Once, like, it only once you got to the last, like, 2 hours, it just completely broke. And this was a problem I've had before. And I fixed it last time, and I just couldn't remember how I fixed it. So it was something with my media encoder. So I was like, okay, I gave up, right, with it not working on Monday, I was like, I'll try again on Tuesday. I try again on Tuesday. I go in, I update my media encoder. I get the first half of the stream done. Right? Fixing my media encoder. I was able to get the stream of Pikmin 1 and 2 done. I got it uploaded to YouTube, no problem. I then spent the rest of the day trying to get the second half of the stream, and it just wouldn't work. Right? In the first stream, it was rendering like half of it, more than half actually. The second half of the stream, it would only render the first 10 minutes. It would spend an hour and a half rendering and exporting, and then it would only have done the first like 5 minutes. And it was like, what the fuck? Why is this not working? So basically what I had to do was I downloaded a new copy of the stream from Twitch. And then with that, I thought that fixed it. I just needed a new copy of the stream. The new copy of the stream rendered everything correctly except for the last 10 minutes. And it cut, if it had rendered everything but cut off, after I defeated the Ancient Sire Hound, I would have been fine. No, it cut off the very end of the Ancient Sire Hound boss fight. And I was like, fuck, that means I'm going to have to restart. So I ended up trying a few more times. It got worse, like it wouldn't render the last hour. I eventually ended up downloading a third copy of the video from Twitch. And then finally, that on, Wednesday? So we're on Wednesday now. That third copy of the stream, finally, that rendered the full 8 hours. It was like 8.5 hours for the second part. So I got all of that rendered. I've uploaded it now to YouTube. So both parts of the stream are on YouTube as of Thursday. And honestly, they've been doing okay. For my channel, they've actually been getting decent views. I do plan on doing the entire stream. What do you make videos for? You can have Twitch save your stream VODs, and then you can just download your stream VODs. Twitch is technically not like a video sharing platform, but they will save your stream VODs for 1 week. So if you ever need to, so you have like a week from streaming to download your VODs. Of course, if you don't do it yourself. Of course, bigger Twitch channels can do it yourself. It's somewhere in the stream dashboard. If you go into Twitch, go into stream dashboard, and then go into stream manager or whatever it's called, creator dashboard, and then go over to video production. It has all that information there. And then, yeah, you can highlight, right? You can do sorts of things. Right? And yeah, but yeah, Twitch is technically not a video hosting site. At least they don't want to be. That's why I back up all my streams on YouTube. Just in case. Of course, over the years, I have missed a few streams. I think one of my parts of Wind Waker was destroyed. Like, I have Wind Waker parts 1, 2, and 3. Part 4 is missing. And then I have part 5. I think in 365 days of Animal Crossing, we lost 1 or 2 days. Because 369 days of Animal Crossing, yeah, we lost some shit. That's a lot of streams to archive. Of course, you can also automatically have Twitch archive streams. You could have Twitch send the stream to YouTube themselves. Admittedly, I did not try that, but I doubt it would work. I don't know, I could. I still have the VOD for another 24 hours. I could try that, just to see what it would do. But I doubt it's going to do anything. So, yeah. But yeah, so I was considering submitting those streams to speedrun.com. They would definitely be the slowest speedruns on the leaderboard, but I still think they're funny that they all happened in one stream. But I'm eventually going to break those streams up into one giant video, like one giant 3-hour video. But that's going to take me, that's a very long process, and that's going to take me a few weeks, but I will get it done. Yeah, what's your question? Yeah, no, I'll get around to that. But hey, I got the streams uploaded on YouTube. That's all that matters. Nothing got cut. It all worked out well in the end. I just wish I could have gotten the full 16 hours. Seeing it as one 7.5-hour stream and one 8-hour stream just doesn't look as good as a one 16-hour stream. A 16-hour stream is much more impressive. But now, what you gonna do? Oh, I've got my one tip: take improv classes. That's my one big tip. That you're not gonna, like, you know, whenever people ask for streaming tips, they're always like, oh, you know, you gotta get good equipment, you gotta get a good mic. None of that shit matters if you're not entertaining. Take improv classes. Learn about game theory. Not MatPat game theory. I'm talking about, like, improv game theory. You know, shit like that is important. That's the one tip that you're not going to hear people talk about as much, but I think is super important. I should take some more improv classes. I mean, I should use my own advice and take more improv classes. But improv is a cult, so be careful, but yeah. Alright, anything else I've done? Anything else I've done this past... I mean, we have Superman and we have Deadpool, which we will talk about in a minute. Anything... Oh, I guess I should talk about my mother's, yeah, the equipment. It's whatever. My mother's Breath of the Wild, or Tears of the Kingdom. So, my mother thought she was about to beat the game. Right? She has beaten all 4... You know how there's, like, the Strange Phenomenon quests? That where you get the 4 different powers, you know, the Rito... You know, you visit the 4 temples. She did all of those quests, and she was like, okay, now I go up to Hyrule Castle, and I'm gonna beat the game. She fought Phantom Ganon, she beat Phantom Ganon, and then I told her, like, oh, so she was like, oh, well, that's just phase 1, right? No, and I'm like, no, you're only halfway through the game. You still have, like, another half of the game to complete. Does she know I'm lying? No. But I think that's funny. Oh, she has the Master Sword. She's gotten that a while ago. Okay, like a week ago she got that. No, the thing she needs to do next is the Spirit Temple. But she doesn't know where the Spirit Temple is, so she's gonna try to figure that out. She did the Yiga Clan quest, where you go get the Yiga gear, and I thought for getting the 3 pieces of the Yiga gear, I thought when you take that to the Yiga Clan hideout, it gives you the ability to, like, summon, like, rock gusts, you know, the gusts of wind in the rock pillars. I swear that's the reward for that quest, and she didn't get anything. She just got, like, a ruby and a sword. So am I forgetting something? Am I going crazy here? Because I don't know. That is the only side quest she has done. That is, because, like, unless you count, like, the towers. Yeah. No, there's a specific power you get that's, like, punching the ground. It's like the Yiga Blade Master power or something like that. That I swear you get for completing that quest. But no, I must just be forgetting something. Maybe that's a reward you get for a different quest. I kind of don't remember. Maybe you have to go to the Central Yiga hideout. I'll be honest, I don't remember. But yeah, no, after she got the Champion's Tunic, she fought Phantom Ganon up in the castle, and now she's just trying to figure out where to go from there. She has no idea where to go next. Admittedly, I also don't know where to go next, because in my stream of the game, I stumbled into the Thunderdome and happened to come across the entrance to the Spirit Temple, but there's supposedly a way where you can clear out the Thunderdome, and I have no idea how. So for once, I'm as blind as she is. But yeah. But no, that's kind of where she is, right? She just did the Yiga Clan quest. She did that, and then she went up to the Great Sky Island and got the, and there's, like, on top of the Temple of Time, there's, like, a robot with, like, a task for you, and that's where she is. She's at that. She's talking to that robot and doing whatever its task is. Maybe it's the correct thing to do. Admittedly, my guess is I'm pretty sure she's supposed to check out the wind ruins in Kakariko Village, but I have no idea. Like, that's my guess, but I did things very differently in my playthrough. And I know I'm not the only one who's done it like that. The only reason I know there's a way to clear the Thunderdome is because in Podquisition, Laura Kate Dale talked about how she cleared the Thunderdome, but her partner did what I did. Right? Jane Eris Magnet did what I did. So I know there's something there. I just don't know what it is. But yeah, so she's kind of on her own, and she'll figure it out. Yeah, we're talking Tears of the Kingdom. I might have I definitely did accidentally say Breath of the Wild. We're talking Tears of the Kingdom. Yeah. So yeah, but you know, she's making good progress. She's got the Spirit Temple left. She's probably got like one other thing. But she's making good progress. She's completed more shrines in this game than she did in the previous game. She's found more Koroks in this game than she did in the previous game. So yeah, she's making good progress. I'm hearing you. Oh, see, I might have said Breath of the Wild. That's the thing. I totally could see myself saying Breath of the Wild. And then, yeah, I think that's it. I think that's all the video game stuff I've been doing this week. I can't think of anything else. I haven't been watching anything else. We already talked about politics. No, that's it. So, I guess let's talk about Superman. So, we're going to talk about, spoiler alert, for the season finale of My Adventures with Superman. My God, is this show fantastic. I seriously love this show so much. I'm going to say it's the second best Superman show we've ever gotten, but I could see the argument for it being the best. Our final episode here is all about, it's about, Clark and Kara. They had just been shot with Brainiac's lasers. They're on the ground. But, you know, hey, guess what? All the other villains and heroes come in to save them. So, last week when we talked about the show, the big thing I wanted was I wanted Steel to come back. Because I love the hero Steel. And so I was, like, really excited to, like, see him come back. And, like, a minute into the episode, who's here? Steel. He's awesome. He's got the same outfit as he did previously. Still looks great. And then meanwhile, Clark and Kara are being attacked by the Metallos. And then, surprise, surprise, who shows up? Elektra. Heatwave. Silver Banshee. The guy who can turn invisible. The guy who can punch things really well. Right? All these people show up to save Superman. And it's like, yeah, we may be villains, but it's that classic trope of, hey, you know, if the Earth's getting destroyed, I happen to be one of the people who live on Earth, and I kind of would prefer it not to be destroyed. Because that is the one thing capitalism does technically give us, is that destroying the Earth is very bad for business. Of course, does that matter to Republicans? No. No, it doesn't. Because guess what? They all believe that they're gonna go into the magical afterlife, and everything's gonna be fine for them, because, god damn, we live in hell. Okay, let's get away from politics. The finale, right, so it's all these heroes and villains teaming up to stop Brainiac. They end up flying up to the ship, right, along the way, you know, like Elektra and Heatwave get taken out. They're not dead. Amanda Waller, Lex Luthor runs away from Amanda Waller, and, right, because he cowers and runs away. Amanda Waller meanwhile gets saved by, Sam, right, Lois's dad comes in and saves Amanda Waller. There's definitely some sexual tension between them, but, let's not worry about it. You know, let's not worry about it. After that, they confront Brainiac. Brainiac reveals that he still has a mind control device inside Kara. And we get some truly beautiful shots as Kara and Clark fight. of course, Clark doesn't want to hurt his cousin. And in classic Steven Universe fashion, they solve the problem by hugging it. Right? They hug the problem, and that ends up saving the day. Of course, they don't sing a song, so it's not exactly Steven Universe. But it's pretty close. I mean, like, come on. I haven't seen many people make that comparison, but it's like a super obvious comparison. Like, come on. I mean, to be fair, I think Superman technically did it first, but that's neither here nor there. But yeah, at the end of the day, they're able to break Kara out of Brainiac's mind control. They push Kandor into the sun, but right before it falls into the sun, Brainiac powers up a kryptonite weapon. Oh, Steven Universe is awesome. Love that show. He powers up a kryptonite weapon. Kara takes the hit. She falls into the sun. Clark goes and saves her. And then they have this moment where they realize, like, oh, wait, we get our powers from the sun. So they actually get a power boost. With that, they're able to go back. They're able to defeat Brainiac. Kara gets her new outfit. I miss the pants, man. That's the one change I hope they make in the next season. Give Clark back his shorts. I think shorts are an essential part of the Superman costume. And man, I miss them. At least on Clark's costume. Honestly, Kara, you can do whatever you want. I am much more open to a Supergirl without the pants or a skirt or anything. I think Supergirl's a lot more open to do whatever you want with. But for Clark, I want pants. Instead, her outfit has like a scarf on it. Kind of like, you know how like evil Clark's outfit had a scarf? Good, right? Kara's outfit kind of has a scarf that goes into a cape. It looks good. I think it looks good overall. She one-on-ones Brainiac and is able to destroy him. She takes a kryptonite hit and they do like a fake-out death. But no, of course they're not going to kill Kara. She survives. She's on the Kent farm. Her and Clark play baseball. And it's all well that ends well, right? Her and Jimmy hopefully get together. I will be honest, there is a part of this episode that very much feels like a finale. Right, like we see, right, oh, right, Kara and Clark are superheroes, but Lois and Jimmy are going to go with them. We see, right, Amanda Waller has disappeared. Lex Luthor takes him and Slade go off and start LexCorp. But it very much feels like if this was the series finale and they weren't getting another season, this would be a decent place to end things. Right? This very much feels like an ending to a show. But like I said, like we talked about earlier, they are getting a third season. We got our first look at it earlier. I would love for more episodes, but I doubt that's going to happen. I would love for a 20-episode run for the next season. That's sadly not going to happen. But it was a great ending regardless. I think it was a final great episode. This show is just so good. I kind of wish we had gotten The thing is, I feel like the first and the second half of the season are two pretty different, right? They're two pretty different plot lines. Like, the first half of the season was all about Amanda Waller and Lex Luthor, right? We see Lex Luthor's rise to power. And while, yes, we do get some conclusions to that at the end of the season, it just, once Brainiac came in, he just kind of took over the show. And don't get me wrong, I like Brainiac. I think he does a fantastic job here. If they want to bring him back in the future, they set it up, because, like, there's, like, a Brainiac hard drive that they could bring back if they want. But if he doesn't come back, it's no big deal. But yeah, there's kind of this disconnect, but it's clear Season 3 is going to pick up on some of those things. Lex Luthor seems like he's going to be the main villain of Season 3. Cyborg Superman was also set up a lot in this season, and it looks like that's going to pay off next season. So yeah, I definitely feel like there's a lot here, and I think they do a lot well. Which season is better, the first or the second season? I think it just kind of depends on what you're looking for. Personally, I think the second season is... Personally, I think the first season is better. I'm going to be honest, the cohesiveness of the first season, the variety of the first season, I love. I love all the different villains, especially some of the more underappreciated ones. Not that we didn't get some underappreciated ones in the second season. Like, they gave us Atomic Skull and, Damage? Yeah, Damages. I almost called him Defense. Right, we got some of that, but... I don't know. It basically became the Brainiac show for the second half. But what do I want? What do I want from the third season? Honestly, I have no idea. I'm still hoping we get Batman and we get a 2-part special. I realized how you do it. I want them to do World's Finest. I know the showrunners have said they're going to kind of avoid Batman. I just want a 2-part, even if it's season 4, 2-part special, maybe 3-part special. And it's Clark and Batman teaming up to stop Lex and the Joker, or maybe do one of Batman's other villains. Like maybe it's Ra's al Ghul, maybe it's someone else. I don't know. Maybe have Lex Luthor create his own like Injustice League, and one of the members is Bane, and that's what gets Batman involved. But have that only be half the plot. Half the plot is Batman and Superman. Make the other part Selina Kyle and Lois Lane trying to figure it out. Right? Because Lois Lane is such an important character in this show. Give her, right, if you're going to do I would honestly kind of rather see a Selina Kyle Lois Lane special more than a Batman Superman special. I think that's how you find the balance. That's how this show does its unique spin on things compared to the animated series, which kind of already did things perfectly. And like, if we never get a Batman Superman crossover in the show, it's no big deal because we have World's Finest in the animated universe. But I'd still love to see it. I'd love to see this show's take on Batman, because I know they do a fantastic job. But I guess we're just going to have to wait and see. It's no big deal if they don't. Superman totally stands on his own, and they've definitely done some great stuff with him. Now, the bigger question is, can the James Gunn universe fill up to it? Because by the time the next season of this show airs, the James Gunn movie will probably be out. So, yeah. So I guess that takes us to our last thing for the night, which is Deadpool and Wolverine. I will definitely be going full spoilers. Not right now, not immediately. I'm not going to go immediately into full spoilers. But we are definitely going to talk about spoilers. So if you have not seen this movie, I recommend it. I enjoyed it. Is it perfect? No. I'd probably give it an 8 out of 10. But yeah, I'd recommend it. But we'll get to spoil. I'm going to give some spoiler-free stuff in a minute. Yeah, of course I will. I used to have a spoiled banner. Do I still have that? Give me a second. Give me a second. Do I have a... I thought I had a spoiler banner somewheres. Oh. Oh, look at that. I still have it somewheres. Yay for me. I'll pop that up in a little bit. So yeah, that way you'll know. I'm glad I still have that sitting around somewheres. So, okay, before we get into Deadpool and Wolverine, I want to talk about the original Deadpool and the second Deadpool, because I actually rewatched both movies. So, my thoughts on the original Deadpool, I think that movie's I think it's good, it's funny, it's a good romance story, right? I love the trailer of the original Deadpool, because it released on Valentine's Day. They made a fake trailer marketing it as like a Hallmark-style romance movie. And I think that was hilarious. Because, yeah, it is a romance movie at the end of the day. The first Deadpool, it's funny. Are there some dated jokes? Of course there are. But it's good. I like... What I think makes the first Deadpool work so well is that they were working on a budget. Right? They only had a budget of like $50 million, which, like, that's like, for like a superhero movie, most superhero movies get like 4 times that much. Ryan Reynolds didn't get paid a dime to work on the first Deadpool movie. They had a very small marketing budget. That's why Ryan Reynolds literally stole the suit and made ads at his own like house and whatnot, so that way they could, you know, have marketing material. Right? At least for some of it. And it's because they had a budget. they were working within the limitations of their budget, right? There were entire fight scenes and chase scenes that had to be cut out of the movie because they had to work within that budget. They had to add some lines postscript, right? They had to ad-lib a lot of stuff. And I think their budget constraints make the movie better because they had to work around those constraints. That's what I like. There's a certain artistry to being able to work around your limitations that I feel like is kind of, that, you know, in like big, like $400 million movie budgets is just kind of lost. But that's one of the things I really appreciate about the first movie. It holds up well. It's funny. Yeah, I liked it. The second one, on the other hand, it's got a much bigger budget, right? They're able to do everything they want. It's got some great characters. I love Cable. I love Domino, man. Domino is so fucking cool. The perfect depiction of luck as a superpower. Right? They just nail that. The plot is very... Right, if the first movie is a romance movie, the second movie is a movie about family. Which I cannot... Because I know the same week Deadpool came out, another very similar movie about family came out, and I, for the life of me, cannot remember what it was. It might have been the second Incredibles, but that doesn't sound right. I cannot remember what it was. But there was there's a movie that had like a very similar message that came out like that same week. Either way, I think the second Deadpool movie, right, they have a lot more set pieces. You get like the icebox, you get the transport sequence where they, you know, flip the transport and everything. The Juggernaut shows up and he's awesome. It's definitely bigger. Is it funnier? It's about on par with the first one. I could see the argument that it's funnier. The soundtrack's great. The soundtrack in both movies are great. In all three movies, they're great, but we'll get to that. So yeah, I think it's all around a fantastic movie. I'd still probably say I prefer the first one over the second one, but it's very much one of those Mario Galaxy to Mario Galaxy 2 situations. Like, the second Mario Galaxy is technically a better game, but I'll always prefer the first one because, you know, it's more original. It took more risks. And you get credit for that. Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom work the same way. Right? Tears of the Kingdom is technically a better game, but because Breath of the Wild, you know, did it first, it took more risks. It feels like a better game, even though they're very similar. Right? Deadpool and Deadpool 2 are in a very similar camp. Right? But because the first one took more risks, I probably like it more. So yeah, but you know, there's a lot of good moments. It's a lot of fun. In the ending of Deadpool 2, the post-credit scene is one of the funniest jokes ever. It's not a... I don't want to use the term comic accurate. Like, it's not a page taken straight from a comic. But I think it perfectly captures the vibe of a comic book. Deadpool going back in time and undoing the entire movie is one of the most comic book moves I have ever seen. That's the perfect vibe of a comic book. Did it crash? Everything's fine on my end. Oh shit, did it? Can you hear me, or is it the video? What's broken? Everything looks fine on my end. I didn't get a disconnect notification. And we're back. Okay, you're back. Alright, so yeah, Deadpool 2, the ending is so funny. Him going back in time, saving his wife, saving Peter, killing himself both in in X-Men Origins, but also before he made the Green Lantern movie. So funny. There's so many good jokes in those movies. They're fantastic. Love some of those jokes. First movie's got a lot of good jokes as well. Man, so good. So many good jokes. So going to the third one, I know, a lot of people were very hyped for this movie. A lot of people were very hyped for the cameos. I was a little more hesitant, kind of like when I went into the second Deadpool. Like, going from the first to the second, I was actually very hesitant going into the second Deadpool. Because, stuff like that, you're not guaranteed to strike lightning twice. I know the saying lightning doesn't strike twice is technically a lie. But I don't know, man. There's a lot of times where doing stuff like this just doesn't work out. Right? Sometimes it does. Devolver Digital does it all the time. But, I was more hesitant going into the second one. And going into the third one, I feel like a lot of people were like, oh, this is going to be the cameo fest of the year. And here's the thing. Yes, cameos can be fun. It's easy to get excited for cameos. But cameos does not a good movie make. Right? This is something people have said for a long time. A good movie is not built on references. References are fun. Yeah, the Cult of the Lamb guys. Right, references can be fun. They can be funny. But you don't structure a thing around the references. Like, that's the problem. Okay. I don't want to be crucified here. That's my biggest problem with Taylor Swift. I feel like a lot of Swifties really love Taylor Swift for her references. Because, she's referencing like, oh, hey, this is a thing that happened in real life. Hey, this is my diss track against Kim Kardashian. They care less about the music and more about the references. When I love her music, man, some of her best songs have nothing to do with the references. But some Swifties only care about the references. And that's kind of how we got Dead Poets Society, which I don't exactly love. But, oh shit, I'm gonna get crucified, aren't I? Maybe I shouldn't have said that. Oh, God. But, okay, you get my point. Good references do not make a movie. You need a plot, you need a story, you need characters, you need motivation. And this movie technically has all those things. Yeah, you gotta stay quiet for your own good. Alright, you think all those thoughts that might get you murdered, keep them in your own head. Trust me. Trust me. Funny. But no, seriously. So, yes, Deadpool and Wolverine, it has characters. They're good actors. Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman are good actors. They embody the characters perfectly. It has a story. The characters, at least some of them, have motivation. But is the story actually that good? Not really. Is the motivation that good? Not really. Is the movie fun? Not yet. Is the movie fun? Yeah. Is the movie funny? Yeah, no, it's really funny. Again, without spoiling any jokes, I think the movie it's got some hilarious jokes in there. The one that's in the trailers that I'll bring up is the cocaine stuff. Right? There's a joke about how Marvel won't let them use cocaine. That's funny. Right? Poking fun at Marvel, poking fun at the MCU, stuff like that is good. But it's kind of, the plot in the story. It has those things. It's just those things aren't that great. The plot and the story are kind of a mess. The villain, without getting into specifics, so in the movie The Marvels, I said the villain has fantastic motivation, but she's written terribly. They gave the actor nothing to work with, and it's just such a dry, boring character. right? But her motivation is fantastic. I feel the exact opposite way about the villain in this movie. The villain in this movie has no motivation, but she's played great. The actress who plays her does a fantastic job. All the actors do a great job. Even if they aren't given that much to work with, they make the most out of what they're given. And it is funny. And it's just, it's kind of a hot mess. Would I recommend seeing it? Yeah, I'm gonna recommend seeing it. If you like the first two movies, yeah, I would say you're guaranteed to like this one. I will admit, I've seen a lot of people in the past few days say that this is a movie you're either going to love or you're going to really hate. Right? If you like things like the references, like callbacks, if you've been a fan of, if you're a fan of the Fox Marvel movies, yeah, you're gonna have a good time. But if you don't care about any of that stuff, this is a lot harder of a sell. Not that it's bad, I've seen a lot of people compare it to No Way Home. I've seen a lot of people compare it to Multiverse of Madness. Sometimes I'm bad, because those are movies that also kind of put nostalgia and cameos above telling a good story. Not always. I feel like some of those movies are more tame than others. Right? I know the internet has kind of turned on No Way Home. I'll stand by No Way Home is a good movie. Is it better than this movie? I don't know. It's pretty on par. Did I like this more than Multiverse of Madness? Yes. But yeah, they're doing a lot of things. Not everything works, but some of it does. And some of it is a good time. I definitely know some people are gonna fucking hate it. Yeah, totally. But as someone who grew up watching the Fox X-Men movies as a kid, who remembers Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, who, you know, remembers all that shit, I had a good time with it. There's a lot more to it than that, of course, right? This isn't just the Fox X-Men movies, but that is a big part of it. And, you know, but yeah. So I do like it. I would recommend it. But it's got problems. It's not perfect. I'd still give it like an 8 out of 10. I might like it more seeing it a second time, right? Kind of like I liked Multiverse of Madness more on the second viewing, because once you know what you're getting into, that kind of makes it a lot easier to watch, because you know what to expect. So I feel like watching it a second time, I'd probably enjoy it more. But I did enjoy it. Does this mean the MCU is saved? I don't know about that. Man, like, again, we just talked about Robert Downey Jr. as Doctor Doom. That feels very desperate, very pandering, which honestly tracks for this movie. I don't mean that in an offensive way. But there is this element of, like, part of me thinks the MCU never left. I know some people really hate some of these movies, and some of these movies are not great. I can't defend Thor: Love and Thunder. I can't. But I liked the Marvels. I loved Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. This movie was good. Shang-Chi was good. Eternals is another movie I liked more on the second viewing. Black Panther I remember being good. It's just like, we've had enough, outside of Guardians and maybe this, nothing has been as good as some of the high points in the Infinity Saga. But hey, we now know where the Multiverse Saga is going to end, because we now know about Doctor Doom, played by Robert Downey Jr. But yeah, so I'd recommend it. You know, if you want the MCU to be back, this movie will bring the MCU back, maybe. I don't know. We've got a long way to go until 2027. Alright, 2027 is a long ways away. Look at that kill. So I guess let's get into spoilers. Let me pull up the spoiler tag. So this is your spoiler warning. I'm gonna go full spoilers here in a second. I'll give you until the end of this match. And then we're going to go full spoilers. I'm going to talk about the plot. I'm going to talk about the story. Not really going to talk about the jokes too much. I'll mention a few of them, but... yeah, it's mostly plot and story stuff. So if you... oh, and we're going to talk about the cameos. The references, right? If you don't want to know any of that, yeah, leave. Leave now. Come back later. It's good seeing you. Yeah, it was good seeing you. You know, we'll be back here next week, hopefully on Friday, instead of Saturday. Right, this was a special Saturday thing. We'll be back on Friday next week. Because this is what we're going to talk about until the end. So, yeah. Yeah, it's a pleasure to have you. Yeah, we're going to get full spoilers. Ugh. Alright. Let's just hopefully win this match. I don't know. I went into their base and stalled them for a little bit, but that clearly only bought us so much time. Yeah, no, right, I may have stalled them over there in a while. Yeah, see you too. See you later. Alright, there we go. End of match. Let's talk about spoilers. So, the second Chris Evans showed up, I knew it was Johnny Storm. I saw that coming from a mile away. Was it funny? Yes. Do I love the joke right after when they first meet Cassandra Nova and she murders him by pulling off all of his skin? Yes, that was also very funny. So that's your first big cameo. After that, so again, this plot is a mess. So the movie starts off with Deadpool, right? It starts off with him desecrating Logan's corpse to the song Bye 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 by, I can't remember if it's NSYNC or the Backstreet Boys. It's very much, you know, I know some people were like disappointed that Logan was in this movie because, you know, the Wolverine ends on, or the movie Logan ends on such a good note. So bringing back Hugh Jackman as the Wolverine, I see the complaint that like, oh, well, you're desecrating, right, that movie's corpse, right? You're trying to basically like undo that movie. But like, that's the joke, right? Like the joke, that's how the movie starts, with him literally desecrating Logan's corpse. And then you find out that, hey, in 2018 or whatever, Deadpool tried to join the X-Men, got turned down. After that, his girlfriend, right, the girlfriend from the first movie broke up with him. And he then got a job at, like, CarMax or one of those places. And, right, he's now just trying to make a name for himself. It's his birthday. All his friends are there. At least the ones who showed up for this movie. TJ Miller's not here. Domino and Cable aren't here. Right. They only got a few of them. Dopender's back. He's great. Peter's back. He's great. Because, you know, Peter gets him the job at CarMax. And then, of course, he gets sucked into the multiverse stuff. He gets pulled in by the TVA. The TVA explains that his universe is dying. But he has the chance to join the mainline Marvel universe. They give him a new costume. And then they explain that when they say his universe is dying, it's gonna die in like 3 days. Because even though, you know, the death of a universe usually takes like thousands of years, they're gonna speed it up using a time ripper. And the universe is dying because it's missing its, like, I don't remember what they call it. An anchor being, I think is the word they use. And it's like, because Logan was his universe's anchor being. So with Logan dead, he tries to go get a new anchor being. We get a bunch of fun little moments. Seeing tiny comic accurate Hugh Jackman was fucking hilarious. That was such a great joke. Henry Cavill being one of the alternate universe Logans, another really funny joke. There's a bunch of other references in there, but those are the main two. Eventually he picks up a drunk Logan from one of the universes, brings him back, and he's like, yeah, you're admittedly joining the Marvel universe at a low point. And then the guy, Paradox, He's like, no, that's not going to work. And then he sends Wolverine and Logan to the void. So if I'm being honest, right off the... Right, they talk about how this is the worst Wolverine out of all of them. And so, okay, here's my big thing. The first Deadpool movie was a movie about love. The second was a movie about family. Why? And then in this movie, you find out that, no, Deadpool and Vanessa broke up. And it's like, what? No, that's not how it should have worked. What they should have done is that, right, so the second movie ends with Deadpool making a joke about how him and Vanessa are going to name their kid Cher. This movie should have opened with them having a kid named Cher. And then Deadpool gets pulled in by the TVA, is told that he's being allowed to join the mainline Marvel Universe, but he has to leave behind his wife and kid. They're still going to destroy his universe in 3 days, but he has to leave behind his wife and kid. That's great motivation, right? Him wanting to save his universe, to save his wife and kid, being told that he's allowed to live, but not his family. That gives him reason to hate the TVA. That gives him reason to save his universe. I know he's bringing up that he's trying to save his universe to save his friends. And, like, I get that. But, like, based on the previous two movies, no, I want something more than that. Giving him a kid would have been fantastic. Even if the kid had been, like, adopted, I would have been fine with that. Right? No, I don't like that they're broken up. So that's a disappointment for me. Him, right, we see all these scenes of him being, like, oh, imagine him in the Marvel Universe. Hey, here's him with Chris Hemsworth. Which, I know that's just the scene from the second Thor movie. I do hope that happens, though, in one of the later Avengers, right, be that Doomsday or, Secret Wars. Let that scene happen, that'd be funny. But yeah, him pulling in this terrible Logan. We don't find out what Logan does until much later into the movie, and why they think he's the worst. And we'll get to that here in a minute. But, where was I going with that? But yeah, I think the whole paradox thing at the beginning of this movie is actually kind of complicated. Like, them explaining his universe is dying. Paradox is, you know, using the universe shredder to do it all in secret, because he's like a TVA truther operating behind the Hunter B-15's back. So, right, like, Loki kind of did some of this already, because, like, you already had the Hunters who betrayed Mobius in that show. I'll be honest, the TVA stuff in this movie is kind of sloppy. It's just, I'm not going to say it's too complicated. Like, I followed it. It's just, it's kind of a mess. Right. And then they get to the Void, they meet Sabretooth, they meet the Human Torch, they kill Sabretooth, they get captured, taken to Cassandra Nova. We find out, right, oh, she's the twin sister of Charles Xavier, killed in the womb, taken to the TVA, right, taken by the TVA, put in the Void, and right, she's just evil. I like how her powers work, right, whereas Charles Xavier can, like, read people's minds by, like, you know, just, like, sensing them. She can do the exact same thing, but she has to, like, touch you, and, like, we see her, like, hand go inside people's faces, and they, like, and she, like, swarms around, like, under their skin. It's really weird looking, but, again, I like it. This is where she kills Johnny Storm. Right, Deadpool basically gets Johnny Storm killed by claiming that he says all these terrible things about Cassandra. There's a lot of references here at Cassandra's base, right? Toad, the Juggernaut from X-Men 3, Psylocke from Age of Apocalypse, tons of other little references. I think Blob is here. But eventually they escape from Cassandra Nova. How exactly they do that, do I remember off the top of my head? I know there's a thing where, like, Alioth is supposed to eat them, but they manage to get away from Alioth. After that, they're basically running away. This is where Deadpool tries to get Logan's backstory. He refuses to give it. Or maybe he gives, like, a little bit of it that, like, everyone he loves died. One of the, you know, there's a lot of cameos in this movie. I wish they had gotten back, you know, I wish they had gotten back Charles Xavier, Patrick Stewart. I wish they had gotten back James Marsden's Cyclops. And I wish they had gotten back Jean Grey from X3. From those first 3 X-Men movies. I cannot remember the actress who plays Jean Grey. Sorry. But I wish they had gotten those 3 characters back. Even if they had gotten back Rogue from the first 3 X-Men movies. Just something. And used that, like that was the reference, and shown us a flashback. Because, movies are all about show, don't tell. And basically Logan's entire backstory in this movie about how he's the worst Wolverine is all tell, right? They're just telling us. They don't show us anything. And I feel like part of that's because they couldn't get those 3 actors, right? Because James Marsden's busy doing Sonic the Hedgehog 3. That's only half a joke, probably. But no, I wish we had gotten all 3 of them here, and that had been the backstory. Because, yeah, you find out all 3 of them were dead in a mutant massacre kind of thing, and Logan feels guilty about that. Because, right, he had a chance to stop it, but didn't. He was a coward. And the reason he wears the yellow and blue costume is because it's, like, the one thing he has left of them. So, yeah, we get that. Eventually, they find Nicepool and Dogpool. Nicepool is very funny, right? He's just handsome Ryan Reynolds, or Gordon Reynolds, or whatever the name is. And it's funny. It's a good, funny joke. Dogpool's funny. After that, they end up finding, right, the Resistance. And it's all the classic, it's Wesley Snipes' blades. I think it's Jessica Alba's Elektra. They make a Daredevil, right, because she was married to Ben Affleck. They make that reference. It's Gambit. If you don't know, for years, Channing Tatum wanted to play Gambit, but because of the Disney merger, because of other problems, that movie never got made. So seeing him here as Gambit was very fun. I think he did a good job. Right, he clearly loves the character. It was cool seeing Wesley Snipes' Blade. They make a joke at one point about how he's going to be the only Blade, and Deadpool just kind of stares into the camera. And part of it's, yeah, like, because there's making Mahershala Ali Blade, but that movie's also in development hell and might never actually be made, so who knows? We have that, and then finally X-23, aka Laura from Logan. So we get the, right, Laura and Wolverine, right, Hugh Jackman to be reunited. And, we get a really good scene around the campfire with them. They decide they're going to lead a revolution against Cassandra Nova. They go back, right, this is where you get all the references that I know some people will love, or if you don't get any of these references, you're going to hate them. I wish they had got, like, I feel like they're missing one. I wish they had gotten, like, Miles Teller's Mr. Fantastic. I wish there was some reference to Fanforstic. I know Miles Teller is the first one that comes to mind, because I feel like having Chris Evans' Johnny Storm and Michael B. Jordan's Johnny Storm would be too much. But I wish we had gotten some sort of Fanforstic reference. Or even, just some sort of Fanforstic reference would have been nice here. But other than that, I feel like all the references are good. These are the characters that, while they didn't, right, they're not part of the MCU. If it wasn't for Blade, the MCU wouldn't exist. Right? Those first 2 Blade movies, I know Ryan Reynolds is in the 3rd one, but those first 2 Blade movies are super important, because without them, yeah, there is no MCU. So that's, the first one especially, but the second one is also pretty good. Super underrated, the second one. Go watch the Patrick H. Willems video on it. But, yeah, Elektra's not good, but whatever. I feel like it all works. It's just kind of like, I can see how this being, like, too much for some people, right? This is kind of the point where, like, references matter over plot, and because, again, these guys' motivation is, right, they just want to stop Cassandra Nova. There is kind of this element that they want to be remembered, that their movies matter, but it's more of just kind of like a side thing, even if Gambit never got a movie, and they do poke fun at that, of course. After that, they go back to Cassandra Nova, they break into her base, kill all of her guys, they use Juggernaut's helmet to defeat Cassandra, and then she offers to let them go back to his timeline to stop the Time Ripper. But of course, it's all a trap. She uses a sling ring to get them back. Again, I think the woman who plays Cassandra Nova does a great job. I think the performance, the actress is good. I just, like, she has no motivation. Her motivation is just that she's evil. She's born in the Void. She rules the Void as an evil dictator because that's all she's ever known. And, yeah, that's kind of it, right? Like, Logan even says to her, like, hey, you know, if Charles Xavier had known you existed, he would have never stopped fighting to save you. And this is the point, like, she tries to manipulate Logan. Like, she goes inside of his head and tries to, like, mind control him during this fight scene. And I kind of wish we had gotten more, right? I kind of wish this is where the flashback was, right? Just something. Even if you don't show any of their faces, just like their dead bodies, you needed something here. Oh, I completely missed as they're trying to find the Resistance, they eventually, they're in like a Honda Odyssey, and there's a fight scene inside a Honda Odyssey that is so fucking good. I don't know if it's the best fight scene in the movie, but it's so fucking good. I wish it had been set to The Greatest Showman sound. I can't remember what song they do use, but for like a split second you hear The Greatest Showman. I wish they had just used The Greatest Showman for that fight scene. When this movie comes to DVD, someone's gonna go in and dub over The Greatest Showman for that fight scene, and it's gonna be fantastic. But for now, you know, they only use it for like half a second. After that, right, they get back to their universe. Cassandra Nova comes in, steals the Time Ripper from from Paradox, the TVA guy, and is like, I'm gonna use this to destroy all universes. Right, combining it with her power. Meanwhile, the Deadpool, Wolverine, Nicepool, and Dogpool all team up to stop 100 other Deadpools. A lot of different references there. A lot of, you know, again, more cameos. Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds' wife, plays Ladypool. 2 of his kids play Kidpool, Teenpool, and Babypool. Matthew McConaughey plays Cowboy Deadpool. There's other references, of course. Nicepool. There's 2 really funny jokes with Nicepool. The first one is, right, he makes a joke about how he can break the 4th wall, and he just turns towards the camera and says, "The proposal." That's fucking hilarious. And then his death scene was also pretty fucking funny, in my opinion. So those are both good jokes. But eventually they basically go through, we get a great tracking sequence where we just follow Deadpool and Wolverine as they kill all the different alternate universe Deadpools. And then, of course, the second they've killed them all, they just start regenerating. Because only Nicepool didn't have regeneration. All the rest of them do. And then after that, Peter shows up to provide backup. And all the Deadpools are like, oh my god, it's Peter! Every Deadpool has a Peter, because Peter's our best friend. So with that, they all go hang out and party with Peter, while Deadpool and Wolverine go to stop Cassandra Nova. They basically try to... They do one of those things where it's like, I'm gonna sacrifice myself. No, I'm gonna sacrifice myself. Because to stop her, they have to both sacrifice them. One of them has to sacrifice themselves. They end up sharing, right? Originally, Deadpool's gonna do it. Wolverine breaks down the door. They both end up doing it. And because they both did it, they both managed to survive. So at the end, right, Paradox tries to write it off as like, oh, it was Cassandra Nova who did all this. She's the one who took the Time Ripper. I came here to stop her. And right, because Logan, there's nobody alive who can stop her, because they do kill Cassandra Nova. And of course, Wolverine and Deadpool survive. So they get their happy ending. After that, they go get shawarma. And Deadpool tells B-15, like, hey, you know, my universe is gonna die, can you fix that? And she's like, no worries, you're now, she basically says they're now the new anchor beings, so their universe is fine. B-15 agrees to help out, you know, Laura and Elektra and Blade, who are stuck in their at the end of their universes. She agrees to help them out. X-23 ends up coming to, you know, the Deadpool Logan universe, and we get a happily ever after scene with all the group together, right? Deadpool, Vanessa, Wolverine, X-23, Colossus, Negasonic Teenage Warhead, Yukio, right? We get all those characters back for, like, one happy ending. There's hints that, like, hey, maybe Vanessa and Deadpool will get back together now that he's found his purpose. And yeah, it just kind of, it ends on a very happy note. I'll give it that. It ends on, right, that ending note's a good note to end on, right? It may have been shaky to get us here, but where they end up, yeah, it's a fine place. Because, yeah, a lot of this Time Ripper stuff, it's just kind of dumb and complicated. If I'm just being honest, right, they just do it so that way you can have this moment of self-sacrifice, that again, they both survive. It's kind of like the first Guardians of the Galaxy, when they take the Infinity Stone, and it's supposed to kill him, but it doesn't. Or, you know, Clint and Natasha trying to throw themselves off a cliff in Endgame. And yeah, and then during the end credits, they play, Time of Your Life, and we get, like, a montage of behind the scenes of the Fox universe. Because there is an element of this movie that is, yeah, it's a love letter to the Fox universe. And I do like that. I think the part of this that's like, yeah, it's a love letter to the Fox universe. It's a love letter to the superhero movies that allowed the MCU to exist. That stuff works. Again, like, I know I talk about the plot's a mess and whatnot, but some of the jokes work, the loving tribute stuff works. Right, this is not a bad movie. I don't know, I'm gonna predict right now, kind of like No Way Home, the internet is going to turn on this movie in a few months. Yeah, everybody loves it right now, but in, like, within a year's time, we're gonna see people turn on this movie a lot. Kind of like they did with No Way Home. I still stand by No Way Home's a good movie, but I know a lot of people have turned on it. Any final thing? What was the post-credit scene? Oh, the post-credit scene's hilarious. I'm not gonna say what it is. It was just, I thought it was hilarious. But yeah, I think, again, I think it works. I think it's good. I think it's on par with the previous two. Like, I don't think this is the, you know, this isn't the Marvel Jesus. This isn't the next coming of the MCU. I just think this is another good Deadpool movie. Right? I don't need the plot to make as much sense because the movie's funny. So the plot being a little bit of a hot mess doesn't matter as much to me. The characters having kind of lackluster motivation, or, you know, how they spend more time explaining their motivation rather than showing it. Yeah, you know what? The movie was funny. I can work with that. Yeah, no, I think it's good. Where would I put it on my MCU ranking? I have no fucking idea. I have not updated my MCU ranking since, like, Black Panther, so it's way out of date. Yeah, I think Black Panther was the last thing I put on my MCU ranking. Again, it's just kind of showing how, like, people care. Like, I used to keep an MCU ranking. I used to love ranking MCU movies, but I just don't care anymore. The list got a little long, but, you know, I just don't care anymore. But no, I enjoyed it. There's a part of me that kind of hopes. I know now that we're getting Secret Wars, I know there are people who are like, oh, well, is James Marsden going to be in Secret Wars then? Maybe they couldn't get him for this because of Sonic 3, but maybe they'll get him in Secret Wars. Can I be honest? I'm kind of done with cameos. I feel like they've spent so much time in this phase in cameos. Spider-Man, Doctor Strange, this movie. I feel like we're good on cameos. Can we just move on? Can we get back to 199999, please? 199999. That's the number. Can we get back to that universe, please? Alright, I'm kind of done with cameos. They're gonna do shit eventually, but I'm good. I'm good. Like, yeah, you can do small stuff, but, like, the way those three movies especially kind of like jerk themselves off about like, look at our cameos. Oh, hey, we got John Krasinski as Mr. Fantastic. Hey, look, we got Blade. Hey, look, we got Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire back. Like, you can just, you can cut it off, movie. I've seen all the cameos I need to see. I'm good. Go back to telling. Put the story and the plot over the cameos. I will say, out of all the cameo movies, I feel like this one... I don't know, man. I love the Spider-Man stuff, but I love those characters. So, I would say maybe this movie is less... Like, I feel like Spider-Man No Way Home is very nostalgia bait. Right? Like, it's, oh, you grew up with Spider-Man as a kid. Hey, here he is. Here's Tobey Maguire. Whereas this one is more just like, hey, that's a cool reference. Hey, look at that. That's a neat reference. Right? Like, I feel like this one's a little bit more sneaky, less reliant on nostalgia. So, that's why I can see, if you don't get the references, I could see you liking this movie a lot less. Like, if you have no idea who Wesley Snipes' Blade is, who the fuck Jessica Alba's Elektra is, you're completely fucked, right? Not that you need to, like, see those movies. I don't think I've ever seen Elektra. But, right, like, they're... Again, that's another problem. A lot of these characters don't really have... Outside of wanting to escape, like, what are they going back to? Us as the audience has no grounding point. But yeah, I'm going to call it there. It's a good movie. Again, 8 out of 10. About on par with the first two. Which, again, I'd probably put the first two at also 8 out of 10. The first one I'd maybe give an 8.5. Second one I'd probably give an 8 out of 10 too. And yeah, I'd say the same thing here. I can see... Honestly, all three of these movies are on such the similar quality that I could see any of these being anyone's favorite. But, we'll see. Alright, I'm going to cut off spoilers, and yeah, we're going to get to the outro here. Let's pull our vending machine pull. Yeah, we've been going for over 2 hours. 2.5, actually. There are a lot of stuff today, right? My list is very long. Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man, though. That's so... Or as Dr. Doom. That's so... I don't know how to feel... Again, I don't hate it. I just don't love it either. It's a very weird choice. I mean, it's a hype reveal. It's just a weird choice. Oh wow, we actually have things in all 3 shops. It doesn't happen all that often. So what's coming up in the future? Nothing in particular. I mean, again, we're just on... I did the one big stream I wanted to do this summer. We're all good on that. I don't have anything planned anytime soon. So, yeah, we're not going to worry about anything like that. I got the one I wanted. But like I said, those streams are up on YouTube right now. If you're at all curious, if you want to see, right, I'm gonna be doing a highlight stream of those. I don't know when that highlight's gonna come out. Sometime in the next, again, I'm aiming for like 2 weeks, because that's gonna take a minute to edit. But hopefully I get it done eventually. I also got to start doing more Zelda things. I've been sitting on that for like weeks now. Just getting some Zelda stuff up on TikTok. I should get some of the stuff from this stream up on TikTok. I need to start doing that more. But, we'll see. Alright, let's buy this shirt. The only reason I'm going to different shops is because I'm trying to get all the badges. Yeah. The final Splatfest is just a little over a month away. We'll be there before we know it. Anything else? Oh, the Olympics are going on. Who cares? I honestly care less and less about the Olympics every year. Like, I remember the 2008 Beijing Olympics being, like, so hype. Everyone was so excited for those. And now, just who cares? Like, if you're in the Olympics, oh yeah, fuck yeah, good for you. You know, good for you. But, like, as someone who, you know, never, who cares? Right? As someone who never even stood a chance. Who cares? I don't know. I used to know people who would go all out for the Olympics. I feel like also part of it's like COVID. Like, COVID just kind of ruined all the hype for the Olympics. Oh, and then Rio was a mess. I mean, remember Ryan Lofty? I think that was his name. I have no idea how people on Twitter are reacting to all this stuff. With, what's it called? Oh, you know what we did not talk about? The Book of Bill. So the Gravity Falls book came out, the Book of Bill. I have read about half of it. We will talk more about it next week. It's good. It's good. You know, if you like Gravity Falls, of course pick it up. If you have, I would recommend reading Journal 3 first if you haven't. I'm not going to say the two are like super interconnected or anything, but Journal 3 is also pretty good. And yeah, I'd say this is pretty good. It's very much a shitpost. Like, there's a lot of shitposting in this book, but I feel like that's part of the fun. But we'll talk more about that next week. I just have to remember. And yeah, I think that's it. I've been stalling for long enough. I hope you all enjoyed. Stay tuned for more. Till next time. Peace.